Man, we are light years away from the Warriors being light years ahead of the whole rest of the league. The hell you doing, Bob Myers?
This dynasty is done. I mean, this is over. It is.
After 3 titles, this is not like the Russell Celtics where you can win 11 and just go. You can't.
It's over for them now. We will never see Steph in another NBA Finals, ever. They have no path forward.
It will be a long time before they can approach anything close to what they were.
It's too much pressure. There's salary caps. There's too many egos. There's shoe deals, competing agents. The Warriors were done.
Fortunately for my friends in the Bay Area, the answer to that is obviously and unequivocally yes.
These guys have all physically fallen apart.
Are the Warriors done?
Yeah, they done.
I want my chips plain. I want my chips with the dip. So bring them dips. That dynasty's over.
Do you feel as though the era, the dynasty of the Golden State Warriors is now over?
I think it is. I mean, just the way it was, you know, with KD leaving, you know, Clay getting hurt, I mean, but obviously signing back. Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, the dynasty's over.
To be over.
I do, and it's okay.
To be honest with you, I don't see the Golden State Warriors bringing home another championship.
I would say it's more likely that he won't win one, but it just crossed my mind. It's like he still hasn't had that that kind of big put the team on your back in the finals moment. If he wins another finals.
So y'all gonna sit on First Take. You and Dominique Foxworth are going to sit on First Take and say that Steph Curry will not be in the conversation for a championship in the next 4 years.
Get us out of here, Victor.
I'm just saying the window has closed for the Warriors.
Season starts. Steph breaks his hand. You guys win 15 games. Look, you're a confident person. Clay's confident. Steph's confident. All that stuff. But were there any moments where you felt like your window had closed?
Absolutely. 100%. Ladies and gentlemen, the Golden State Warriors are the 2022 NBA champions. Throughout these last couple of seasons, there's been a lot of people who have counted out the Warriors. From NBA fans all the way to mainstream media members, a lot of people have counted out the Golden State Warriors and even questioned if the dynasty would even continue. From Klay Thompson's 2 drastic career-altering injuries to the pickup and trade of Andrew Wiggins, and from the front office all the way to the players fully investing to these young players that a lot of people quite questioned. And I can't even lie to you, even myself, I very much questioned and even doubted sometimes if this was the right move. And maybe it is the right move to go for a star right now. Klay Thompson was coming back off of 2 drastic injuries, Steph might be getting a little bit older, and Draymond, it might not be the same player as he once was. How can these young guys and these moves be the right pieces that we need to make for the foreseeable future? With a lot of promise and potential that these young guys have shown, time will truly tell how great they really will be. But enough of future talk for now. I would like to go back and retrospect the ups and downs of this season. Why I think that this season is going to be one of the most memorable seasons for that of the Golden State Warriors for decades to come. So without further ado, let's talk about it. So, during the start of the season is met with very high anticipation for what the Golden State Warriors had in store for this season, as we won 2 regular season games against the Los Angeles Clippers and the Los Angeles Lakers. And around this time, Klay Thompson himself still wasn't back within the lineup. But regardless of that, we still saw great emergence from the young star within Jordan Poole. During the beginning of the season, starting on October 19, 2021, all the way to November 28, 2021, during this time, the Golden State Warriors, and I am not exaggerating when I say this, went on 3 separate win streaks. Not 1, not 2, but 3 times did they go on a win streak, going in with a record of 18-2. During this time, the Golden State Warriors looked very good and back better than ever. Steph Curry was looking like the MVP of the season in the first beginning, Draymond Green was still playing like an all-defensive caliber player, and Andrew Wiggins was showing his true impact in becoming a two-way player by offering us very good defense and getting and crashing the boards, and giving us very good offensive production, which was very much needed at that time. Not only giving credit to the major options, we also also saw some very good moments from the young stars in Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody. Also seeing dramatic improvement within the young star in Jordan Poole. As his play was getting better and better, he was starting to get into the conversation of the Most Improved Player award. Within this span of time, they were still considered to be one of the best teams within the league and making a very good push for contention for a championship. Being considered one of the best offensive teams within the league and also one of the best defensive teams within the league. It sparked interesting debates between which teams were better at that time, between the Warriors, Memphis, and Phoenix. Which team could truly edge forward in getting and attaining the #1 seed. But around the time of December, it started to take quite a turn for the Warriors. As around this time, and obviously around the start of the season, more drama started surrounding the Lakers and what the debacle was around that situation, and when it was about winning, the Warriors were still within the contention, but mainly a lot of people started favoring a lot of other teams. This being the start of other great emergence of players like Giannis Antetokounmpo in Milwaukee, Joel Embiid in Philadelphia, and obviously Nikola Jokic within the Denver Nuggets. Also around this time, a lot of people started favoring teams such as the Phoenix Suns and Memphis Grizzlies. Without their star in Ja Morant, they were still putting on a very great and impressive win streak. Even though the Phoenix Suns ended up pretty much similar with the same record as the Golden State Warriors, a lot of people were favoring their style of play and hoping to see something new from the Phoenix Suns. As around this time, and obviously in early January to February, a lot of people started talking about the possibility of the Western Conference Finals matchup between the Warriors and the Phoenix Suns. And eventually within the month of January, we get the finally awaited comeback of Klay Thompson. And what was quite a sour note for the Warriors at this time, as great as it was to see Klay come back, it was also a point where they lost Draymond Green. Even though the Warriors at the time were still going on a very good and impressive win streak, it didn't last long. And even before that, it was looking like Steph Curry was having a very bad shooting slump around this time. And weirdly enough, around this time, Steph Curry just passed Ray Allen in most made threes in all time within the NBA. It just made it even more weird enough that he was going down this shooting slump. Most people point to a lot of situations that he could possibly have been injured or he just was in a slump himself. Because of this, he starts losing his place within the MVP race. And especially around this time, a lot of people started running around with a lot of narratives that Ja Morant or Luka Doncic or possibly even Devin Booker was better than Steph Curry. But especially as people were hyped up for Klay Thompson's return, some others questioned this as well. If this move was possibly going to hurt the emergence and confidence of Jordan Poole. To be fair, this was quite a valid point. When one guy is coming back from 2 drastic injuries that can alter anyone's career, or a guy who's been on quite a hot streak lately for the team and has been pretty much viable as the third option, it just seemed like quite a risk. But it ended up working itself out in the long run. However, then we approached the All-Star break, and around this time, a lot of narratives themselves were floating around the team. Were the Warriors going to make off a big trade during this time, or were they just going to be fine with what they had? And even though this was truly their last time to do it, the Warriors still said no. They're sticking with their guns and the players that they selected. In numerous interviews as they questioned it with Steph Curry and other members within the Warriors, Steph himself has always said that there was and is no panic. Also around this time, we were getting very conflicted moments of Steve Kerr and Bob Myers on whether they were going to get James Wiseman ready. Now there were a very series of tweets around the start of the season saying he would be ready for the start, but he wasn't, and then he would be ready by January and he wasn't, all the way to February into March as he himself spent time within the G League. And despite the highlights that were shown for Wiseman at this time, a lot of people who watched the games were saying that he just didn't really look that impressive. Then later on, we get news that says that Wiseman is sitting out for the whole rest of the season. After he noticed much more pain and swelling within his knee, they decided to say it was best to sit him and sideline him for the rest of the season. Then this ran up another narrative: could the Warriors truly win without a big man? Draymond Green's back injury, Niema Bjelica not really fitting too well within the offense and struggling himself, with Kevon Looney not being valued that much as a big man at that spot, it started a lot of points where people thought that they should go for someone in the buyout market. The center position making a revival with guys like DeAndre Ayton, Nikola Jokic, possibly in the NBA Finals against Giannis Antetokounmpo and or Bam Adebayo. Of course, cannot forgetting Joel Embiid. There were a lot of questions surrounding what the Warriors will do going forward. However, eventually by the start of March, Draymond Green was announced that he would be returning within the lineup, and all around Warrior fans were ecstatic. pretty much excited for the fact that the big three was eventually back. There was even a moment where Steph Curry pulled Draymond Green and Klay Thompson to the side to remind them how long it's really been since they played together. It just truly was a refreshing sight to see, seeing the big three back and ready to play. That is until the next game against the Celtics.
This season, it's not as close. All Anthony Towns had more points in the quarter. Hey, facts. Loose ball, Tatum gives it away. They got a 3-on-1. Thompson over 3. Thompson, it's 36 for Golden State. Here's where Steph might have been shaken up. Yeah, Marcus Smart dove for the ball and landed on Steph's left ankle. Steph Curry's leg. So this is what Steve Kerr was bothered about. Oh, wow.
Yep. Steph Curry goes down with an ankle injury. He was sidelined pretty much for the rest of the regular season. After the injury, we got updated that it was just a bone bruise and that hopefully he would be back by the start of the playoffs. Around this time after Curry was out, there was also another narrative that started to brew. The narrative of how legitimate of a great coach is Steve Kerr. As of most fans who were pretty much starting to watch the finals and starting to get used to exactly what was going on, there were a lot of Warrior fans who were critical of Steve Kerr throughout this point in the season. For mainly his inconsistent roster lineups to him, even when Curry was healthy, he would bench him at times. And it really didn't help after that Steve Kerr himself even said that we don't even know how to win.
Of competitive desire. And I know these are great guys. I love these guys in the locker room. Awesome guys. And I know they want to win, but we have to learn how to win. And right now we don't know how to win.
Because of this, we lost pretty good close games and some of them even blowouts, such as the Orlando game, Atlanta, Washington, and especially the game in Memphis where Jaren Jackson Jr. himself tweeted strength in numbers. But eventually, with the rise of Jordan Poole and Klay Thompson, they found a way to come back for a win, especially one within the service of the Utah Jazz. And after this ended up being a very good momentum run for the Warriors, as they give us a very good closeout win against the New Orleans Pelicans, and eventually we clinched a playoff berth. And the Warriors are eventually back within the playoffs. It's been 2 long seasons since they've been there. The first opponents going in is against Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets. We start off game 1 here as it was an incredible shooting display by the Golden State Warriors. In the first game, Jordan Poole had one of the best shooting displays and games within his career so far. For a guy who was in talks for most improved player in his 3rd year within the league, and in his first game in the playoffs. As Steph Curry was coming back off of his injury, for Jordan Poole to take this moment over one of the best point guards of all time, and over the best player on the team, Jordan Poole drops 30 points, 3 assists, 7 of 8 from the free throw line, shooting 87.5%, going 9 of 13 from the field, shooting 69.2%, and at 3-point range, shooting 5 of 7, shooting 71.4% from 3. In terms of true shooting splits, that's 91% from true shooting and 88.5% from effective field goal percentage. And this did not just affect Jordan Poole. His play ended up affecting everyone on the squad. The Warriors ended up winning that game 123-107, shooting 45.7% from 3, with Steph Curry coming off the bench shooting 3 for 6 from the 3-point line at 50% and him not missing his free throws at all, only shooting at 38.5% from the field. Someone who didn't watch the series, you may be thinking, well, yeah, they had one great game, but it's just that, one great game, right? Yeah, this wasn't just an ordinary game. By the second half of the quarter, the Warriors end up running the Nuggets out of the gym. Klay Thompson shooting 21 points on pretty good efficiency, and Jordan Poole having another masterclass of a game showing very terrific playmaking on very good shooting splits as well, and Andrew Wiggins providing great offensive production and crashing the boards as usual, And then there's the man wearing number 30 coming off the bench, Stephen Curry, on ridiculous and amazing shooting splits. Not only did this lead to the Denver Nuggets having a heated moment on the bench, this then even led the TNT crew to argue themselves about how to guard these guys. Transfer this over to Twitter and the nickname was born. After this game, the Golden State Warriors just shook the entire league. From Nuggets players arguing on the court and even taking it over to the bench, to even on the guys and inside the NBA, it let me pretty much know that the Warriors are back. And obviously, it just didn't stop there. The Warriors continued out this momentum throughout the rest of the series. Win us the game, Draymond Green comes up with a very good clutch steal, and even the game we were losing, for a while as everyone was struggling, including Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins, and somewhat a bit with even Klay Thompson. And Draymond Green gets into foul trouble and gets fouled out of the game. Steph Curry comes in and puts on a very good clutch clinic. But that doesn't really last long because Kerr ends up benching him yet again. But not to just use the point that this may have been a bad game for the Warriors, I also have to give credit to the Denver Nuggets. Bones Highland coming off the bench and putting up 15 plus points. Then you also have Aaron Gordon giving you great production, as well as giving credit to Monte Morris. And had a very great shooting night and a defensive play to seal the win. And within the next game, the Warriors officially close it out and go on to face their next opponent, that being the Memphis Grizzlies. And before this matchup, there was immediate hype going into this, as this was not only just a play-in rematch, but also a very good matchup for the Golden State Warriors in seeing a great young team within the Memphis Grizzlies, who ended up capturing the second seed within the Western Conference and ended up being one of the most funnest teams to watch throughout this season. And as most people would say, this series ended up getting quite ruined.
Golden State still looking to crack the seal. Payton right down the middle. He's fouled hard. And Payton's in pain. They're late with the swipe, and he clumped him on the side of the head.
Gary Payton II gets injured, and this was not just a typical injury. This was an injury that suffered with GP2, which would sideline him for the rest of the series. And around that time, people on the internet were just debating left and right whether or not Dillon Brooks' play was quite dirty. This was in part led by the comments by Steve Kerr about breaking the code. And this caused most Memphis Grizzlies fans or other NBA fans that were watching the series to chime in on a lot of dirty plays that Draymond's made throughout his career. Almost nearly every single play and foul call being considered a dirty play, a flagrant, or a technical foul. It just really wasn't the series everyone probably pictured and or wanted to really see. However, despite all of the back and forth between fans on social media, this still ended up becoming a pretty entertaining series, as this series went 6 games and ended up being a good back and forth matchup for a while. As we take game 1 with Klay Thompson hitting a very clutch 3-point shot to seal the deal and also playing very great defense throughout the stretch between Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, we then end up in game 2. Ja Morant puts on an absolute spectacular performance, putting up 47 points, 3 steals, 8 assists, 8 rebounds on great efficiency from the field. Despite the next game of Ja Morant still putting up very good numbers, 34 points, 3 steals, 7 assists on good efficiency, the Warriors end up winning the game by 20. We end up taking the next 2 games until, yeah, we got blown out of the building by Memphis. But even before that, Ja Morant himself got hurt, and yet the arguments yet started again. Did Jordan Poole purposely grab Ja Morant's knee on purpose? Was it a dirty play? And that's what began to become very frustrating just watching this series. Was it a dirty play? Was it flagrant? We need to go to the review system yet again. Was it a technical foul? It just ended up becoming quite a mess. But with this, Ja Morant would have to sit out the rest of the series. But despite all of this, the Warriors end up winning in 6. Even though the series was quite annoying to go through, we still had a lot of promise that we got to see, with these young Grizzlies and their young talent that will be very promising to watch for the foreseeable future of Desmond Baines, Jaren Jackson Jr., Dillon Brooks, and Zaire Williams. Of course, with Ja Morant, the sky is truly the limit for this guy. Of course, after this series, we faced our Western Conference Finals opponent in the Dallas Mavericks, who just came off a surprising victory series themselves against the #1 seed in the Phoenix Suns. This was after the Phoenix Suns took a surprising 3-2 lead, which this was quite a surprise by Dallas after they made a dramatic trade of trading off their second best player in Kristaps Porzingis. Where before the season and even after, more people were very much more hyped of a playoff series matchup between the Phoenix Suns and the Golden State Warriors. But Luka decided to change that up. Yeah, that's right. Luka Doncic and Spencer Dinwiddie went on a scoring tear. What most fans were expecting to be a close and competitive Game 7 ended up turning out to be a massive blowout for that of the Dallas Mavericks. And now we then get the matchup of the Golden State Warriors versus the Dallas Mavericks, which ended up being quite a gentleman's sweep. And nothing to take away at all from Luka Doncic, he put up an amazing series against us and had a very great playoff run. And with the work he's putting in, I do expect the Mavs to be a very great competitive team for the foreseeable future. But other than that, the Golden State Warriors were back. After not being in the NBA Finals for 2 straight seasons and a lot of people counting out the Dynasty and thinking that it was completely over. And I can't even lie, if you've seen my previous videos and especially sometimes of me ranting on my Instagram, you would know I kinda had my own doubts within this team. Especially with the rookies. How great will these guys help us to go ahead and win an NBA championship? Let alone and behold, they end up making a comeback run during the Western Conference Finals. And Jordan Poole has an amazing playoff performance in the Denver Nuggets series. To what would Klay Thompson look like coming back? And just like as he is, knocking down big shots as we needed him to do. Especially my biggest doubt and biggest question mark throughout this time. How great will Andrew Wiggins be and valuable to this team? And all of that will be shown and paid off with how great and valuable he was as a two-way player. And the biggest doubt of them all, will the Warriors win another championship? Will Steph Curry finally get a Finals MVP? And we got our answer.
But it means so much. All the sacrifice, all the work. Warriors return to a familiar place. They're on top of the NBA world. The 4th title in 8 years.
Out of all the championships that Golden State won throughout this time span, this one takes the cake. Defeating not just any team, but the #1 ranked defense within the league, beating Giannis Antetokounmpo, beating Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, and just recently beating Jimmy Butler in the Miami Heat. And the amount of great play we've seen from guys like Jaylen Brown take a big leap, Jason Tatum improving on his defense, Robert Williams being a very solid rim protector for this team, and having a great veteran presence in Al Horford coming back and reprising his role. And on the offensive side of the ball, the Golden State Warriors themselves were kind of struggling. As Klay Thompson and Jordan Poole and even Draymond Green were struggling finding their rhythm throughout this series, we see 2 guys within the Warrior system that truly stepped up and were very important throughout this series, at least in my opinion. And that truly has been Steph Curry, Andrew Wiggins, and Kevon Looney. As I said before, this championship truly takes the cake. This one is seen by Dub Nation to be the best one that is won by this core group of guys. After all the doubts, after all the narratives, after all the hypothetical trade scenarios, the Warriors are the champions. And yet, they proved it again. And with all the media personalities saying that for one guy that was never going to be back in the finals, see if he could truly be the best player and MVP on the team. And after time and after time and time again, he proved it, and has proved, at least in my book, that he is a Hall of Famer, an all-time great, and a certified NBA legend. And his name is, well, you know it by now.
Curry crossover, 3-pointer. Bang! My goodness, Steph Curry, you are ridiculous. Ahead to Curry. Curry sets, fires, puts it up. Bang! They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry! With 0.6 of a second remaining.
Ils vont jouer le shoot de la victoire pour Curry. Il est loin. Il est dedans! Il est dedans!
И теперь Стеф Карри будет решать. 3 очка. Точно! Вот это да! Стеф Карри.
Devient possible! Devient banal! Tout simplement! Lo fischia, non chiede il time out!
He's a 4-time NBA champion, a 2-time league MVP, a member of our 75th anniversary team, and for the first time ever, he's an NBA Finals MVP. The 2022 Bill Russell NBA Finals MVP award goes to Stephen Curry.
As Bob Myers says, this just doesn't.